why don't
Yeah.
you start by just introducing yourself and telling us who you serve?
Yeah. So my name's Kendall Garness. I'm an online trainer and I serve nurses and pretty much anybody in healthcare. I help them lose weight, tone up. Really just depends. The timeline kind of depends on what you got going on, and everything that I do is customized. So no two people really have the same plan or anything. So that's what I do.
Nice, nice. So you said you were a healthcare professional or a nurse. What kind of made you make that transition from nursing to wanting to coach nurses?
Yeah. So working on the floor, I kind of saw like the issues, like the common themes of what nurses would have going on. And I kind of wanted to help them so they could help their patients better. Right. I was like, man, but I was just another fellow nurse. So like, it'd be like your nurse friend giving you unsolicited advice. Right. And like,
Mhm.
but I knew I could be helpful. And especially once I got my certification, and I was like, man, like, I just want to help these people. And so I just made the transition. I was 5 months pregnant and I was like, what better time to start a business, right?
Right, right, exactly. Hormones are all over the place, and then you have a little bundle of chaos growing inside you, right?
Yeah, nesting is a terrifying thing. It'll make you start a business, make some cookies all in one day.
Right, exactly, exactly. No, I like how you said that you saw this problem amongst your peers, and you wanted to fix that in a professional route rather than just being that, that fellow nurse trying to give that unsolicited advice. That's very similar to how I kind of got into helping gamers. Um, you know, well, a lot of gamers sit around the table and they see, you know, your one buddy might have just said that they just went to the doctor and now they're on blood pressure meds, while the other one's over here kind of lightly wheezing, while the other one looks like he hasn't eaten in 5 days, and he's so skinny. And so you kind of got a blend of people who have their own unhealthy habits. And so kind of being able to zoom out and kind of confront things in a bit of a more professional setting kind of helps from, I think, add a barrier. So that way it's not friend to friend. There's that professional, that coach client relationship that we would have. And so I like that resonate or that resonated with you as well. So what are some common pitfalls that you see nurses and healthcare professionals have when it comes to taking care of their own health?
Yeah. Well, the first one being like the length of the shift, right? A normal, I say normal, that's whatever, is at least 12 hours if you work in the hospital,
Mhm.
right? And if you think about it, like that's a lot of food to plan for. I mean, how much do you eat in 12 hours? Because I would like to say, I would venture to say that I eat most of my food in 12 hours.
Mhm.
Um, so planning for shifts is definitely tough. Definitely being on the go the whole shift, especially depending on your patient load.
Mhm.
You don't have time to really sit down and eat and like take your time to eat, and like that it just doesn't really happen. And a
Right.
lot of the things that get brought in by patient families, they're not exactly bringing in, chicken breasts, or, like they're bringing in donuts and such. And while it's super nice, that might be the only thing you eat all day.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly. Not so much eating on a Tupperware every single meal every single day.
right.
Sure, sure. Okay, so it sounds like healthcare professionals very much like mothers tend to put themselves on the back burner and they try to help everyone else before they can help themselves. And so what are some things that you do to help kind of chip away at that mindset or to help them improve their health, make them the main character, so to speak?
Yeah. So we break down whatever their like ultimate goal is. We really like break it down to be like, okay, well, what can we do right now in this moment? Like, we can't just make this drastic jump. So what are we going to do very um, tangibly? And whether that's go for a walk for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or write start a gratitude entry every
Mhm.
morning, something that you're doing like for yourself and that you can do every day, no matter what. Like, hopefully you can brush your teeth every day, no matter what. So
Mhm.
like right after you brush your teeth, if you put in like in the gratitude entry, like I'm really thankful for the sun, or whatever you can come up with, like
Mhm.
that's where we start. Very small goals.
Sure, sure. I had a client, he was in a bit of a funk and he felt like his meds were a little off. And so he was speaking with a psychiatrist. And in the meantime, we worked on just doing like one gratitude entry a day. And I was like, I don't care if you have like the worst shift possible at work. Like if just life was just shit, you need to come up with one thing that you're grateful for that day. And he said that that really helped him kind of work his way out of the slump. And he hasn't even adjusted his meds yet. He's getting new ones tomorrow. And so we're kind of working him out, and then the change in meds will probably help kind of catapult him out. And so
That's
he's,
great.
yeah. So it really helped kind of rein him in when your brain wants to go down that huge negative talk spiral.
Right.
Um, when you focus on like even that one positive thing, like, look, the sun's out today. It's a nice day. It's 73 and sunny. Like, that's great. And then you can kind of go rein yourself back in, kind of hit a more neutral route. And then also maybe start thinking about the positive. Who would have thunk?
So
Um,
you didn't make, so a question for you, when you do have people do these gratitude entries, can it be something as small as the sun, or do you have it be like, make it a little bit like more, not substantial, but a little bit bigger, like think a little bit deeper?
Yeah, either one. So if they're having like a shit
Okay.
day, I want it to be like give me something. And they don't even give it to me. Like they just either put it as a habit on trainer eyes, or just we kind of go in good faith, like, are you doing this? Yes or no. Honesty is a big thing with us. So I assume everyone's telling the truth as far as my clients. Maybe to my
Yeah.
fault. But no, it can be something bigger. Like, I'm grateful I was able to get my workout in. I'm grateful that I was able to make healthier food choices amongst more triggering foods. And that could be something like that. Or it could be, I'm grateful that I was able to get up and get to work on time, or brush my teeth, or something like you were talking about.
Great. Well, I was just curious. I know some coaches kind of differ on that. So I'm pretty much like a find something like
Yeah.
you. Just yeah, if it's a bad day, just find one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that I rarely pull out of my back pocket to use with clients. There's another thing that we use I call the bat signal. And it's like, if life is throwing just everything at you and you're just having a shit day and you're not going to be able to do what's on the schedule, send me an emoji or something like a predetermined what we decided it's going to be. And I know that what from now, like for today or until I hear from you, that you're going to focus on the BAMs, bare ass minimums. And it's going to be like, okay, whatever we decide the BAMs are they, going for a 10-minute walk? Is it just doing like 5 minutes of stretching? Is it just simply like you said, practicing normal self-care, like brushing your teeth and maybe even trying to go to bed at a decent time? Like, whatever those bare ass minimums are what I'm expecting. And I don't expect every habit, every workout to be completed. And so having that plus the gratitude journal seem to be ways to have our normal plan, and then have a lot of contingencies, plan B's, C's, and D's, to
Mhm.
keep the momentum at least facing in the right direction, even amongst setbacks and stumbles, versus this is my perfect program. I can't do it perfectly. Therefore, I'm going to have $50 worth of Taco Bell, which is very much a stark dichotomy that a lot of my clients, myself included, sometimes struggle with. And so saying there's a lot of steps in between and finding out what those steps are really helps.
Right. I like that idea a lot of like sending the bat signal. I probably would call it something different. What would I? Oh, I'm gonna get creative with that. I'm gonna steal that if you don't mind. So
Absolutely. Do it up. Because I think somebody, like, when you're working with people in the healthcare field and just in general, that's a very chaotic field. And so there's probably going to be a lot of bat signals or oh shit signals, whatever you want to call them,
right.
that can absolutely help just kind of rein things in. And then really what it does is it helps them go from, or it prevents them from going from one extreme to the other, and saying that there's these middle steps that we can meet to keep momentum going, rather than constantly being in that perpetual cycle of failure where, when I use this analogy with my clients, let's say on Wednesday you forget to brush your teeth. You don't just say, oh, the whole week shot, I'm just not going to brush my teeth the rest of the week, right? And so you
Right.
pick back up Thursday where things right where it left off. And that's the type of mindset that we try to bring upon to our clients. That
Right.
it's
Which is essentially, if not the same, just similar to the all or nothing, right?
yeah,
Like just forget it, like I suck and that's it.
yeah. Start back up Monday. Monday gets pushed back. The next Monday gets pushed back 6 months, and
Yeah.
then January 1st rolls around. You're like, I was in the same spot. In fact, I'm worse than what I was last year, and I had all these dreams and aspirations. It's like,
Right.
yeah, well, you try doing everything all at once.
I listened to somebody, I listened to so many podcasts. I can't even tell you where this originated from, but he referred to doing like pushing things out so much. And he referred to it as like walking into a forest. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
you can like keep eating that way. You can keep not moving. You can keep um, you know, digging into debt, whatever the thing is, you can keep going, but that's you walking further out into the
Right.
forest. Whereas if you stop right now and turn around, you got like less to walk out of, right? But if you keep going, that's just further back that you have to walk.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just I
exactly.
thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it's a good visualizing. Oh God, Jesus Christ, good visualizing tool. See if I cut that out if I remember. Um,
You won't.
no, I won't. Fuck it. Uh, for all three viewers out there. Um, no, so we talked kind of prior to our call about the book Atomic Habits that you said you haven't read it, but you do have it. And essentially to kind of give you the TLDR of it, it's a lot of what we've already talked about. And I think it's a lot of commonplace now, but I don't necessarily know if it was groundbreaking, but he kind of took all of these ideas and kind of put it into one book. A lot of the book is his story and how he got started and stuff like that. So it's kind of a good background, but it's essentially, taking your goal and breaking it down into the smallest action. And one example in the book, no spoilers, is he talked about a guy who wanted to lose like 100 pounds or something like that, something crazy. And his goal was to just put on his shoes. And so he put on his shoes, and that might sound stupid, and it kind of is, right? Like you're not going to just put your shoes on and then take them right off because you check the box, right? There might be days where you're just feeling, again, complete dog shit, and that's your bare ass minimum is to put your shoes on. But you put your shoes on and you're gonna, okay, let's go check the mail. I'm out now. I might as well take a walk around the block. And so putting your shoes on is really that first step that um sparks that momentum. And that's a lot of what you were talking about. And so do you have any like common examples or common practices that you'll normally do, or that you see a larger number of your clients do that you guys will practice?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind when you ask is water. The water intake is, I mean, on average, very low.
Mhm.
And so one thing that we just start with, like, we just start with an extra cup of water a day. Like whatever you
Okay.
were already drinking, just an extra cup. And that is like, I think everybody can drink an extra cup of water a day.
Sure, sure. Just simple 8 ounces, right?
Right, right. And we start there. And if they struggle with that for a little bit, then we keep going until maybe we do a half cup, whatever we have to do to kind of like just put that in our minds that, hey, that's what we're working on. I
Mhm.
would say too, like, sorry, I'm kind of going off topic here, but when we like set goals and such, I find a lot of clients set goals for like what they don't want to do. Like, oh, I'm not going to drink any soda this week. I'm not going to have any dessert this week or something like that. And that's really great. But then we're focusing on like what we're not doing,
Yeah.
and we're not focusing on what we are doing. So like that's one thing that I've found super, super helpful, even for myself, is like, okay, like I am not gonna have ice cream tonight. And like like I've had it every day this week. I can chill out. Like, and it's like, okay, but what am I gonna have tonight? You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna not have anything to eat at all.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have something. So what am I gonna have?
Right.
And kind of like shifting mindset that way. Sorry, no, that's not what we were talking about, but I did want that to be said.
No, no, I like that because that's the negative or scarcity mindset where I can't have, and that creates that what I call a box of negativity where you can't have this, can't have that, can't have that. So you're surrounded by all the stuff you can't have, rather than saying, instead of having, ice cream for dinner, I'm going to have maybe some fruit, or I'm going to have ice cream and fruit and kind of do what's called habit stacking, where you combine the two. And then you have a little bit less ice cream. You get to indulge, you get to have that or you get to have that sensation, you get to curb that craving while having fruit, which will be a nice kind of transition. And then wean out the ice cream, increase fruit. So that way you can kind of see that it
I
transitions
actually
from one
did
to the
that
other.
exact thing. Like postpartum, I did that exact thing that you just said. Like postpartum, I don't know, like I just couldn't stop eating ice cream. And I say that facetiously. Of course I could have, but I didn't
Mhm.
want to. And I just remember being like 3 or 4 weeks postpartum, and I just ice cream was just like always a staple in the freezer, and I just always had it. And I was like, okay, like let's chill out. So then I just started getting frozen fruit.
Mhm.
And then I started mixing the frozen fruit with the ice cream. And then I just started having frozen fruit. And now I just have fruit with like some zero sugar Cool Whip or
Nice.
whatever,
Yeah.
like, and it all started because I was just like, okay, let's have the ice cream, but not to the extent that I'm having the ice cream.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I call that the mind flare habit, where the bad habit gets overtaken by the good habit in a slow transition. And it very much works because what's happening is, and I'm not necessarily explaining this to you as much as I am our audience.
No,
Um,
absolutely.
our mind is attributing ice cream in this example as comfort, right? And
Mhm.
so you go all day stressful, you have a infant running or infant laying around screaming, crying all the time. A lot of chaos, right? And so your body is now, or your brain is now looking at the ice cream as comfort, and you want to change that habit, but your brain's like, well, we still need that comfort. And so you implement fruit and you combine the two. And so now your brain is attributing ice cream and fruit as that comfort, as that comfort as to curb that craving. And so then you slowly wean out ice cream, and your brain is now attributing fruit as that way to curb that craving and to be that comfort. And so since you combine the two, your brain now attributes that comfort to both of them, and then you can remove the bad habit, implement it with the good habit.
Love it. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it works. It
Yeah.
worked for me. I should say, I shouldn't speak in fact, but it worked for me.
Yep. I have a lot of clients that do that, they'll turn towards food for comfort, and they want to do something else. And so what we'll do is either journaling, D&D prep, even just video games in general, can be that comfort instead of food. And so we try to combine the two and then remove the bad habit.
So I'm curious, is there like a game, like let's say, how do I want to ask this? Like, for example, there's like a certain song that I'll listen to when I'm about to work out, because I attribute that song to like working out, and it just helps me like get in the zone, especially since I have a home gym. I don't have a drive to the gym to like help get me in the zone or anything. So I listen to the song, I work out. Is there like a video game equivalent of like comfort, like, oh yeah, this is my chill game, or do you just like let it be like any game?
For me personally, it's a little bit of both. So if I'm caught up in a game at the moment, I'll play a game, like whatever game that is. But right now, I've kind of been falling back into semi-older Pokemon games. I'm playing Legends Arceus right now because I told myself I'm trying to complete the national decks, but then I restarted the game even though I didn't need to. And so I'm playing that through because it's a comfort game. I want to wind down at the end of the day. And so it's a little bit of both. I don't necessarily pull up like a mindless game like Animal Crossing or something like that, where you're just like the not hyper casual, but just the feel good kind of casual games.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of those. I like having some form of agenda, and Pokemon kind of fits that mold for me.
Yeah. Well, I was horrible. You know, one type of game that I'm just awful at. I could not be worse at the open world concept games. Could not be worse at it. I need some sort of structure. I need to be told where to go. I need to have only one option because I just get so stuck. So, but like Zelda, it's the most beautiful game I've ever played, right?
Mhm.
Beautiful game. Graphics are incredible.
Mhm.
Hate it. Can't stand it. I'm so bad at it. I love looking at it. Hate playing it.
Sure. You're talking Breath of the Wild and Tears of the
Yeah.
Kingdom? Okay.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I didn't even get the second one because the first one wasn't working out for me. So
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild is what I got. But
I hear you. I have that game and I tried it like at least twice, possibly 3 or 4 times to get into it, and I just couldn't. I feel like they did a good job trying to be what they were, which was a big just open world explore, no hand holding,
yeah.
which was great, but I just felt like it didn't do enough to really grip me in the beginning to make me want to explore. And so, like I said, I fell out. The first time I made it through like the first quarter of the game, and then the second time, I just gave up like right after the initial tutorial. I don't know why, but the not cell phone thing really bugs me. I hate when they take something like a cell phone and turn it into like an ancient piece of equipment. And as hypocritical as I am, Legends Arceus does the exact same thing, and I'm not a fan of it. But it's such a kind of a big piece in Breath of the Wild that I kind of pulled away from the immersion. And I know that's kind of a nitpick, but that's part of the reason why. Oh, another thing I hate is when weapons deteriorate. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that.
Yeah. Yeah. That happened. I didn't realize that would like happen. And then a bunch of things were breaking. I didn't know where to go. I just kept dying, and I was like, okay, well, this just wasn't meant to be. I'm going back to Halo. Like
Yeah,
I'm going back to Halo and COD because that's what I'm good at. Like
yeah. Yeah. Halo is very linear, especially the early games. Not necessarily the newest one, but the earlier games are very linear. You travel down the map, you do the objective, and then you travel the exact, or, the opposite way down the same map.
Right. Perfect. That's it. That's what I need, baby. That's what I need.
Exactly. Point and shoot. Just point and
Yeah,
shoot.
right.
Well, cool. So that was a slight spiral. So you said that you got to chip away at the overall habits. You got to try to break it down as small as possible. Water is the big thing. I totally get that, especially when you're working 12 plus hours, always on the go, not giving yourself time to even stop and take a drink. So trying to prioritize water is great. But also, you're working 12 hours, always on the go. How do you address the movement side of things or exercise side of things when your client base is largely very active?
Yeah. So a lot of times they hit their step goal pretty much daily. Or the opposite happens where they hit their step goals on days they're working. They're so tired because they have, you know, 12, 13, 14,000 steps and they don't want to move the next day. And I'm like, I understand, like I get that. So we really it's where their baseline's at and what their goals are. So um we really I don't find the need to have to focus on cardio a lot because there is a lot of movement. So it's mostly weightlifting focused on the days off. Very rarely do I have people wanting to lift before or after their shifts, assuming that they're at a hospital shift, a 12-hour shift. So really on the days off, it's like, okay, like if your first day is like you are kind of chilling out, maybe just do something small, and this is back to like the small habits. So we're not just doing completely nothing for the days that we're off. We're doing something.
Mhm.
And then if you want to do like your first lift that day and it's a 20-minute lift, half-hour lift, cool. Like let's do it. So it really just comes down to like what their goals are and where they're at.
Okay, cool. So kind of doing the same thing where they just work out on their off days, and it's could be even just active recovery where they're getting some movement in and build up from
Yeah.
there.
Just like a chill walk or something,
Okay, cool. Are most of your clients male or female?
female.
Okay, so you got them hitting the weights. Do you get a lot of friction there?
No.
No, they all want to get big and strong.
Yeah. Well, I think I would like to think that we're kind of coming out of the like, oh, lifting makes you, you
Bulky.
know, bulky. Yeah.
Yeah,
I would like to think that that's kind of been like pushed out. What do I know, right? But like I haven't had any issues, honestly.
good.
Everybody's been really excited. They've been feeling really, I shouldn't say everybody. Most people have been really excited. And a lot of people feel really good about doing it.
Good.
And yeah, so I'm happy for that. I feel good about it and they feel good about it. So it's been good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Especially when, well, you work primarily with healthcare professionals, so I think there's that what I want to say it that little bit of bias there because you have people who have a little bit more knowledge base on how the human body works, and so they probably know that picking up a dumbbell is not going to make them super bulky. I
Yeah.
like
Well,
the
like going swimming isn't going to make you Michael Phelps, right?
yeah, I
Like,
was just gonna say I don't driving doesn't make you a NASCAR driver, right?
yeah, well,
So exactly
some
depends on
people think so,
yeah, exactly.
especially
Um,
in Florida.
yeah. My dad lives down in Florida, and he says that nobody obeys traffic laws, and
They're a
like
suggestion. Yeah.
yeah, he says it's pretty much just like Mad Max down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, cool. So, what are some? I guess so. What's a normal shift like normal weekly schedule? Is it like 4 on, 3 off, that type of thing?
So I would say most places you can, especially the places I worked, a lot of places it's self-scheduling. So it's 312s minimum and you pick your days.
Okay.
So if people like doing their days in a row, a lot of people do that, especially night shifts, so they can flip their schedules and be awake and then kind of sleep during the day and whatnot. But so some people like to do them all together. Some people like to break them up. I was a break them up kind of gal. I like to do one and then two together like later. So like maybe a Monday, Thursday, Friday or something. But it's just dependent on you.
Okay. So what would a normal, and I know this is overgeneralized, but what would a normal workout split look like for somebody with a schedule like that?
Oh, a very rare. Actually, I've yet to do a 5 day a week split. Honestly, there's a lot of some push pull legs, but mostly like a lot of three upper body just because they are so spread out typically. But typically I would say three upper body or full body. I mean,
Okay. Okay, cool. So I was gonna say working with women doing 3 upper body days would be that's
sorry, that
way out of the
edit
norm.
that out.
No, it's staying in. Okay, cool. So it sounds like definitely working out on the off days, like you said earlier, but trying to just make it something simple, breaking up into 3 days, which is good because that seems very sustainable.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if they were working 5 days a week, hopefully, uh, not all my clients do 12 hours. A lot of them do because there's different nursing jobs, right?
Yeah.
And not even
Yeah.
all my clients are nurses. So they do have different schedules. And I would say for the most part, 3 days a week is like good.
Cool. Would probably agree on even on my end, which I do not work with nurses, nor do I work with people with chaotic schedules like that.
Yeah.
But
What do most of your clients do?
most of them are sedentary, sedentary jobs, like IT, that type of stuff. And
Got it.
so they'll work like a typical 9 to 5 type job. Sometimes they'll have some OT that they want to get into. But it's a lot of mentally stressful days, maybe not physically stressful. So do some light movement through the week and maybe like a harder workout on the weekends. If that's kind of what we want to do, like maybe 2 bodyweight workouts during the week and then like a gym workout Saturday or Sunday, or they can make it to the gym within Monday through Friday. And so we'll do a couple days there. Again, kind of saying everything's customized, but to overgeneralize, we'll probably do either some body weight or some gym workouts. I don't have anybody doing both. I do have some people doing a little bit of both. Um, and so, yeah, it's trying to get some form of movement in, even when they don't want to. Um,
Right.
they want to, but their bodies doesn't because their brain is just so fatigued from the work that we try to just fit it in somewhere.
Right.
So yeah, it kind of based on what their schedule is,
Of
obviously.
course.
Um, okay, cool. So let me ask you this. We're gamers. If you could create, or if you had to create your own character sheet for yourself, what class would you be?
I don't know the classes. How do I answer that one?
Um, any way you want. I like to leave it open. Most people will answer in like a D&D setting, but if you never played D&D, that's fine.
No, that's lost on me. Let me think of the games that I've played that I would most relate to. I just love Mario so much. Like Mario Odyssey is such a good game. I'm gonna say Mario just because
No, what?
like
Like
I what?
I was gonna say, like what character class would you be?
But
Like
what's a
cleric.
class, dude?
Well, you could be like something like a medic because you
Okay.
or like a cleric. A cleric would be like the fantasy term of that, where you're all about healing people and helping and being a support. Also,
Oh
clerics
yeah.
hit pretty heavy too. Clerics good all
Oh
around
yeah.
class.
Cleric sounds good. That's probably what I would be then.
Okay,
Sorry.
it's okay. It's okay.
You
That's
said class, you lost me. I don't know. I game, but I don't know the terms. I'm sorry.
sure, sure. You said you like Mario and you like Call of Duty and Halo. What other games do you play?
Pretty much those. That's pretty much what I got. Mario, Call of Duty, Halo. So I used to be really big into Pokemon, but I kind of fell off of that. I really for a while was really big on Overcooked.
Okay.
But it stressed me out too much. Like, have you played that?
That's it's like a restaurant sim, isn't it?
Yeah, and you're
Yeah.
like you're cooking, like these orders come in and you gotta cook. But I found like I would get too like wound up. Like my heart would be racing, I'd be really stressed. And I'm like, no, I'm doing this to like calm down.
Hmm.
And like I kind of found that with Call of Duty too. Like, I'd be at the top of the leaderboard, like nobody could beat me. I was just incredible, but my heart would be going. And then I'd try to go to bed, but I'd be like so jazzed up. And I'm
Wired,
like,
yeah.
bro, this is sad. Like,
Yeah. That's a big reason why I don't play PvP games like that. A, I suck at them. B, I don't have enough time to become good at them. And C, I don't play video games to get pissed off. I want to relax and kind of
mm,
de-stress, like what we talked about earlier, where I try to find those games that are a little bit more casual. And even when I
yeah.
do play an RPG, I play on the easy mode, on the easiest difficulty. So that way I can just kind of cruise through the story without getting pissed off and rage quitting, which is not why I play video games. I don't play for the challenge.
That's fair. That's totally fair. And that's why I love Mario Odyssey so much. Like it was just very chill at your own pace. You
Mhm.
could figure it out or not, and like you're gonna get there. And it was just really like a fun game.
Yeah, and I really like Mario Odyssey because you can beat it in like 10 hours, but then there's like 40 extra hours of available play with finding all the what are they moons? Finding all of the other hidden features, going back now that you have all the abilities, going through the maps again, all of the unlockable areas. And so I really like that. I didn't do any of that. I just beat the game. But you had the ability to, and I like that.
But
I thought
I
that was really cool.
could.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't a necessity. Like other games, I know this is a big difference, but Batman Arkham Knight, the semi most recent one, where you go through the game and you kind of beat the game. But that's not the true ending of the story. You had to get all like 250 Riddler trophies to get the true ending. And when I found that out, I'm like, ain't no fucking way. So I just Googled it. I just YouTubed it and found the true ending, which was then what they used in Gotham Knights. They used that ending. So I was like, well, that's stupid that you had to like 100% the game to get the true ending.
Yeah, that sucks. And it's also for me, I just never liked having to Google. I mean, I've done it, but I've never liked having to Google how to like beat a game. I just like I want to figure it out. But like,
Mhm.
oh, I played Spyro and my husband beat it in like a day. But they were, I have you played that game?
No.
The remake at least.
Mm-mm.
Well, the old version is great too, but the remake, I mean, to beat this one level, it is so obnoxious. And if we didn't look it up, there was no way we would figure it out.
Yeah.
And just like, man, I hate that we have to do that, but it was hard enough, even knowing what we had to do then. Like, it still took some time.
Yeah. Like those platform puzzle games.
Yep.
Sure. Sure. Well,
Oh, I
Kendall,
played a lot of Crash too. Sorry, I forgot to tell you
Crash
that.
Bandicoot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice. It's kind of like a runner, isn't it? Like a temple runner.
Yep.
Cool. 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 Well, awesome. Awesome. Hey, I appreciate you hopping on. Why don't you drop all your info? Let us know how we can get a hold of you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on Instagram at Kendall_justfit. And all the other stuff I'll send to you. So
Okay, sure.
put in that's my main one. So
Okay. Okay. So everyone check her out on Instagram. I'll put all the stuff in the description as well.
cool. Thanks, dude.